Hi, this is Marlene PT hosting the Pediatric Telehealth Coffee Hour. I am here with Christine Robenalt, PT, for the second time. Recently, Christine created a poll in our Facebook group asking what tools you use to educate and teach your families. 35 people selected verbal instruction, 24 modeling on self, 15 email or text after the session, 13 modeling on dolls, and only 8 shared their screens to show videos or screenshots. Christine is going to share with us how sharing your screen to show videos or marking on a screenshot can be a great tool to use during your sessions. I have to admit, I have only shared my screen about 2-3 times maybe, but after this, I may be doing it more. So Christine, thank you so much for coming on my Pediatric Telehealth Coffee Hour show for the second time to share your knowledge.
Thank you for having me, Marlene. It's a pleasure. Yeah, this is a great tool for teaching, and it seems perhaps daunting at first if you're not sure how to navigate the controls, but I don't use it every session, but I would say a majority of my sessions, I'm doing some version of this with the families that I work with. And predominantly, I am seeing early intervention children, so I am predominantly working with the parents, but I do have some school-age children as well, and it's just as effective for them for all the same reasons. So anyway.
So can you tell us how it's improved the quality of your sessions when you have chosen to use it?
For sure. So in a telehealth session, there's so many things that the child or the parent could be paying attention to, and often it's me that they're paying attention to. And so there's a lot of times when the parent isn't really even aware of what they're doing with their child, especially if I'll be like, oh, that was really great what you just did there. And they're like, what? Or did you see how he just moved his leg? And they're like, no. So I can take a screen capture in real time of what the child is doing and then bring it up to the parent afterwards and say, this is exactly what I was talking about. This is what I'm seeing. And so it helps me freeze time and really highlight the specific movement or the particular positioning that I would like them to work toward or do again for the next trial.
So when you're in a session, are you kind of taking screenshots here and there as you see fit and then sharing afterwards if it's applicable, or does it just depend on the family?
Yeah, no, I typically am ready to go. So that's the first thing you should, we'll back it up. In order to have permission to take these screenshots, we need to have the parent sign a release, like a photo release. So these particular screenshots I'm only using in our session, but it doesn't matter. I am still taking that image, and that's technically personal health information that protect the health information of their image. So I need to make sure that that's released, that they allow that. And then I just take the screenshot, and then I do delete them off my computer or off whatever device that I'm using. So I don't store those anywhere. If you were to store them long-term, you would end up putting them in the medical record or in whatever portal you used to secure them. But if you start adding to the medical record, remember you need to keep those files for 7 years. So that's kind of where we start. When we start talking about saving videos or adding them to the medical record, we just need to think about that long-term, like who's paying for the storage and the memory as you start to grow that. So that's why I don't save them at all. And I think to myself, well, I wouldn't save it if I was in person. You would use it, what you needed to use, and then you would get rid of the video or the picture. I suppose in the hospital setting, perhaps they have a different storage. If you're looking at like gait analysis or whatnot, they may have a different method for that. But for us as clinicians, whether we're treating in home or in a clinic, we're not saving these images when we're really in person. So I usually follow that rule of thumb. Whatever I do in person is what I'm going to do online. I'm using the tools differently.
Right. Because at one point I thought, I I know that your business is cash based, but I'm wondering, like, with people that bill insurances, if at some point insurance companies if that would help with reimbursement, like as far as range of motion goes, or if someone made to show gains objectively, if like if they start if it gets tricky getting reimbursed with telehealth stuff. So I wonder if that's could be like something that may help people that bill insurance potentially later. I was thinking.
I suppose. I mean, it would be another objective measure, but so would be your documentation.
Yeah, that's true.
Sure.
But and that's a good point about like the storage space. So it's
So,
like, oops, sorry, I think you cut off a little bit. Are you there?
oh, sorry.
So what feedback have you gotten from your families when you have shared your screen?
Yes, I've had multiple parents, usually moms, provide feedback such as, just like I said, they didn't have an awareness of what was going on until I pointed it out to them. In the session, as the session is going, it's going so fast that they didn't pick up on that until I slowed everything down. And then the one mom I'm thinking of, when I asked her, she said, yeah, now I see it all the time, what I was mentioning.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so I think we can't change something that we're not aware of that's happening, whether that's within our own bodies or even helping with our children. And parents aren't using the same set of eyes that you have as a clinician. So we're looking at completely different things. Even if I ask, well, does your child put 1 foot forward to get up from the ground? That interpretation of what I just said can look a lot of different ways. In my head, I'm seeing a nice smooth control half kneel with their arms, non-weight bearing. In the parents' head, they're moving through planograde, but putting 1 foot forward. So, so until I can kind of show them on screen what their child is doing or isn't doing, I could demonstrate on myself too. But I think for the parent to see their own child doing something and educating on that is very helpful.
Awesome. And then I know sometimes too you use a tool on Zoom called Annotate to mark on the screen.
Yeah.
Can we do a pretend screenshot, and then you can share your screen and show us how you're getting to that annotate button?
Absolutely. So step one, learn how to do a screenshot. So on my Mac, my commands is Shift Command 3, kind of all sequentially. If I wanted to crop the photo in the moment, I could do Shift Command 4, but I don't often do that because it's not that big of a deal. Obviously, if you were doing your session on your phone or a tablet, you'd have a different way. If you're on a Windows-based computer, you'll have to look up how you do your screenshot. So sometimes there's a function key at the top, not hard to learn, just Google it.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. So Marlene, would you like to place your doll in a particular position for me?
Put his hat on. Okay, or her, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Let's see here. So I'll just do that screenshot there, and then I'm going to pull that up. So I'll choose share screen at the bottom. And then when you do that, you have a variety of options of what screen you want to share. And I always recommend doing your desktop, and then just know that when you share your desktop, your entire desktop is going to be showing, including any sort of notes or things that you have up there. So make sure that those are appropriate for the parent to see. Looks like this is it here. All right, so here's a screenshot we just took. And then if you when you are in this screen, you can scroll up to the very top, and I'll show this to you later, where you have the meeting information, and there's a toolbar. One of the options is annotate. You can go ahead and choose your color and your pen. And let's see, I'll use blue so we can see. Okay, so I'm noticing that your baby's left arm has a bit of a bend in it versus this right arm is straighter. I see this bit of a curve to his side here. So I'm curious to see if maybe we can work on having baby do this to the opposite side. So I want to check out and make sure that we can get bending on both sides of his body. So the next time we're going to do whatever exercise, and I can explain that however, but we're going to be looking at to get the other side to curve. So I want this side to curve, and I want this arm to bend. And so I can have the family now understand what I want them to do.
Nice. And then can you share the screenshot of where the annotate, where it shows up?
So when I was saying that you can find those tools, what I'm talking about is right up here. So you're going to hover over this spot on your screen, and then you'll see this toolbar, and you can choose draw, and then you can choose a color. You can this draw tool also has an arrow feature. You can text, you can type on the screen. Right now I'm using the spotlight. You can use the eraser, which is very helpful for my Chutes and Ladders games that I play. So yeah, so this is where you find it.
And can you circle the annotate button also with the little pencil?
Uh-huh. So annotate is, well,
Oh,
I don't know that, I don't think that took a screenshot of that. So the annotate is going to be like, it's in a toolbar that sits right above this, but I'm not seeing it right now on my actual image. And then annotate sits about here on the toolbar.
Okay, good.
Sorry about that.
No problem. And can you also go through the app, like you just share your screen and show us when you measure range of motion, how?
Yeah, for sure. So let's see. The app, depending on what device you're using, you can be, there's a couple of different ones. If you're on your iPad or your iPhone for measuring, it's going to be a lot easier. There's more options for you. If you're doing the measurement on screen, this one here, and I can give you the link. Come on. Is the one that I have been using with some success. You do need to,
And it's called Protractor?
Online protractor. So for some reason I opened up two of them. So it's a little bit deceiving because you have to scroll up to see all of the tools, but here you're going to choose a file. So you'll choose the image, and I have one here that I was marking on. I guess we'll do this one. Oh no. Okay. Okay, and then you'll upload that image. So here's a girl I was working with yesterday. The picture is a little bit dark, but you can move the, when you kind of grab onto this protractor down here, come on, it's when it gets, oh, there it goes. I can move this center part wherever I want the angle to start. And then I can give myself, hold on here. I'll show you the points first so I gotta get a pin. It worked earlier. You're just supposed to tap on that. Why is this not working for me here? Hold on. Okay. So you're gonna end up getting these two pins, and then you'll be able to find the angle that you want. Why am I not getting a pin right now? I have no idea. So you can move your angle wherever you want to measure, and then you'll have two pins. But why are the pins not coming? That's a good question. It's interesting right now. It doesn't, earlier when I tried this, it had two pins here. So I'm trying to figure out why that's not here right now.
But so you're putting the, I guess, where you want your access to be, and then you can choose your
Yeah,
like moving and stationary arm
that's
of
right.
it's a
Exactly. And then you measure the angle. And when I'm in Zoom right now, it's opening this in Safari. I usually, not Safari, it's opening it in Chrome. I usually use this in Safari, so I don't know if that's the issue, unfortunately.
yeah.
But this was
Usually it works.
it does work. Oh my gosh, it does work, but you just have to pick, like you said, put your axis where you want to measure it, and then add your 2 pins. The 2 pins should be right here once they highlight, and I don't know why this isn't working right now. But this is the best one that I found online. It's free. I found a couple that you had to pay for, like $29 to get the software. So I'm not in a spot where I need to pay $29 for that. But yeah, so that's a little bit frustrating that it's not working right now for me. But like I said, when I was practicing with it earlier today, I was in Safari and now I'm in Chrome. So
might have made a difference. Yeah. And I had downloaded one on my phone that was called Angle Meter. And that one worked good on my phone and probably work on a tablet if people are doing that. And then I noticed when I was playing on Zoom and I clicked share screen, there was one that said that I guess while you're on the computer, you could share the screen on your tablet or iPhone.
oh,
So I'm wondering, I think Jonna had posted a post where she, she had the can of beans and like the document.
oh yes.
And so I'm wondering, could you, if you're using Zoom anyways, maybe you could just use your phone and then put it on, if you're sharing your screen, and put it on camera, and that could probably work also.
Right.
Just for fun, I think I'm gonna pause the video and get my charge cord to see if it works.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I can pull up the other camera that I have. I mean, the other screenshot that I have of that girl where I did the measurements.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that'd be awesome. And then while you look for it, I'll hit pause so I can get my.
That sounds fine.
Okay, so we're back from being on pause, and Christine has the picture where she used her protractor application.
Yeah.
So it looks nice and pretty. Like, I like that picture.
So this particular one was from my phone. I prefer it off of the phone. So I guess there's probably limited reason that you would have to get the angle right there in the session. So I would recommend, for just ease, if you can get, and this may not be possible for everybody, but if you can get the image onto your phone or tablet, those particular on-screen protractors are a lot easier to use. The on-screen one on the Mac that I was using, which I'll be happy to share that link, is just a little bit more awkward to navigate. I did it, and again, we have to play around a little bit with angles. This particular one gave me the angle here automatically, 37 degrees off of this neutral line. But on that on-screen, the other one I was showing you, you have to kind of subtract depending on where you're starting from. So just to make sure that you got the angle you were wanting to measure, because it might tell you like 91 degrees, but you were really measuring the other side.
Yeah. And then I did go and get my charger to try that phone trick, but my Mac is old, my phone is new, and it doesn't have like a USB thing. But there is an option to use. Oh, maybe it will fit. Let me check. I found a hole.
And you can join as a second user. I know you said that you've had some problems doing that in the past, but I join as a second user all of the time. The biggest problem that I have is muting that second device so that you're not getting feedback. So you can sign in again. It'll just show your name up twice, so make sure you know which one you are, as far as when you're directing. But I'll do that if I want an alternate camera view. I might set up my iPad in a different spot, or in this case, I would be able to take the screenshot of the picture and then measure the angle using that particular app.
Yeah, because I did a video that's on my YouTube channel where I attempted to do that. But even when I hit mute, if I was in the same room with my phone, it was just like, me. So I had to be in a different room. So I was like, okay,
Right.
that didn't.
Okay, so then what you want to do is you don't want to join audio. So don't even join the audio at all for that second device.
That
Just
makes
cancel.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
that'll
if
be.
you mute it, you'll get that feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know I wanted to see, because also and it probably does work, but I know I haven't played with it beforehand, but if I do it later using that AirPlay to share your tablet or phone using AirPlay would probably work if your connection on your phone doesn't work too.
Yeah, there's multiple ways to do it. So it just depends on what your setup is and what's going to be easiest. As we're experiencing here, go ahead and practice it first. And nothing, very rarely does something have to get done like that in the session that somebody needs an answer. I can eyeball it and I can go back later and get a better measurement. If I have that screenshot, I can even use the one on my computer later too. I don't need to take the time to find the measurement right then.
Right. Yeah. Because even I know a session I had before, I knew I was going to teach an exercise that was going to be a hard angle for me to demonstrate just using the computer. So I actually took a video ahead of time and then I shared that video during the session. And I've also taken videos after a session and then shared it on my phone. But can you talk a little bit about when you share videos during your session and how that, like, when do you choose to do that, or how has that helped your practice?
Right. So in addition to using the share screen options for measuring angles or for drawing on the screen to show positioning, I can demonstrate an activity with the video like you said. So it's either needs to be I'm not recording the parent and then showing something. If you were to do that, you would have to stop the session because in Zoom and if your record option is available in other platforms, it's not going to hold on to that video. It's not going to convert that video until you end your session. So it really wouldn't work to share a video of something that we're doing right now.
Right.
So this is why you would have to prepare something in advance or find something in advance. So I've been spending a lot of time making videos, and I know you have as well, Marlene, for that purpose, so that other therapists have the ability to pull up an existing video demonstrating a particular skill or a particular game that we're going to play. So that, especially if the game requires more than one person for me to teach, I can't teach that. So I've recorded that video previously so that I can show the parent how that interaction might go. There's lots of other resources of other therapists who are doing that. If you're more of speech therapy activities, Laura Mize is one that comes to mind. Of course, I have videos as well in my YouTube channel. So when do I use it? I use it a lot of the times. I might send the video link ahead of time for the parent. Maybe they watched it, maybe they didn't. Again, their interpretation of what I'm doing can be very different. So I may just go ahead and share from my YouTube here. So
Yeah. There was one time where I shared a video with the parent on her phone, and then the next session we were working on the same thing, and then she's like, hold on, let me look at that video you sent. So she was, it worked out pretty good. I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So remember, you are going to be sharing your audio. Zoom does give you a feature to like optimize the audio share, whatever. You can click on that, that's fine. But you still are going to be sharing it through your speakers. So don't be wearing a Bluetooth for this part. And then I'll show you a couple of features here. Oh, big tab. Take a big cut. Oh, I'm going to take a screenshot here. Good. Thank you. So if your child's having difficulty with this, you can definitely go more slowly or not so far back. And we do want to see their head extend backward. And then we want to see them as they pull up. We want their head to come down. You can change the playback speed to 0.25. all the way up to 2 times speed.
You can just practice even here with your child.
So that's really nice to, if the song is too
Ride
fast,
little horsey,
all can slow it down.
Town. Watch out, Melanie, don't fall down. You go backwards.
I think that's nice too, that I didn't ever think about doing that, like slowing down the speed. So that way it's, it's not going so fast where the parents like, wait, what? What did I just do?
I can also pause the video here at a particular spot, grab my annotation bar or my spotlight and say, I would like the child's neck to extend. So either ask them to do that or gently tilt their head back here, as well as drawing on the screen. I could do that as well. Here's that arrow.
So, okay, so you're sharing your YouTube video on your desktop, but you still have the option to use the annotate tool in Zoom.
Yep.
Okay, that's nice.
Yep. So right here, we're going to get that neck extension. So yeah, so I can use all of that. While I was doing that, I took a couple of screenshots because I wanted to show you when you're doing any sort of screen share, it automatically changes who is or what is being visually presented on the screen. It makes your screen share large and then the video option small, which depending on what device the parent's using, they may need this instruction too to change the size of the video screen. Or for me, if I'm demonstrating the activity, I'm often back from the computer, even with the share screen on, and so I want to see the child at the largest point. So I'll pin their video, and then I'll pin their video, and then I can drag it larger. So let me see here. Finder screenshot. Is that it? Yeah. So this is the regular screen here, that with the two videos, but you can then choose at the top. There's an option at the top for you to choose pin video, and then when I do that, you'll see that I could drag your picture larger. I was able to grab your corner of your video picture and grab it, make it larger so that I can see your screen, your video as you're participating.
Oh, that's nice. There's a lot of little tricks on Zoom.
Yeah, and so this is just ways to enhance the feature of the session. Do you have to use any of this? No, you don't. But to enhance your teaching, to really make it equivalent to an in-person session, there's a lot of things that we can do to make that happen.
Yeah, I love this. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us, and hopefully this can help some of the therapists in our groups make their, help them feel that they're giving that same quality of a session that they would in person. And I know we also talking about going back to face-to-face or transitioning back to face-to-face a little bit, since a lot of therapists are in that situation now. And I know you've done some face-to-face sessions. Can you tell me a little bit about what protocols you're using to protect your patients, families, and yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing is, I do have a cash-based option, but I also work for a home care company as well. So I do have an employer. And so all of the in-person sessions are being done through that employer. And so their rules from an employer standpoint is that we're not going in unless the family is considered low risk, meaning that they haven't had a cough in the past 14 days, they haven't had any symptoms, they haven't been exposed to anybody who is the country. So we're not even going into a home where there's a potential risk there with those symptoms or other risk factors that would potentially open us up to transmitting the virus. Now, in addition to that, then I am wearing my mask, and I'm inviting the parents to wear the masks, or any adults that are going to be in the session with me if they're over 10. At the same time, for my company's viewpoint, that it's the parents' home and they have a right to not wear a mask in their own home. Now, for early intervention Colorado, no mask, no visit is the policy that early intervention is having. So it just depends on who is doing, who's paying for the visit and how that's going. I'm taking temperatures when I get to the door. And if I was going to be touching the child, I would be wearing gloves, using my hand sanitizer or washing my hands before the session, putting on gloves if I'm going to be physically touching the child for a demonstration, taking the gloves off, washing my hands again, and continuing with the session. So that's what we're doing.
Okay, and then for your older kids, because you said you do see older kids too, right?
Yeah.
Are you implementing a coaching model with them also when it's applicable?
I do try to stay that 6 feet distance, and I'm wearing my mask. If I have to physically come in and cue or touch the child, I'm going to be putting on the gloves so I can take those off and wash my hands. But otherwise, I try to just do it as if I was doing a telehealth session, that I try to keep that distance. And I can call in mom too, or the parents, which I think I'm a really big advocate for I encourage the parents to be as involved in this session as possible. And there's lots of reasons why the parents may or may not be. So if I'm met with that level of resistance, and even though I've tried to involve the parent more, they're just that's not where they're at today, then yeah, that's as long as they meet those other criteria, I'm coming in and doing my hands-on stuff with them.
Right, because I know before I did EI, and I was doing pediatric home health, it was kind of like I was just bringing the clinic to them. So sometimes the parents would participate, sometimes they wouldn't, and it was, but now it seems like even more important to try and get the parent more involved, so you're having less contact, if they, like I said, if they're willing to. But since a lot of people may have done telehealth with them first, that might be a good transition to get them more involved than what they were prior to telehealth, because now they're kind of used to being more involved during the sessions.
Yeah, hopefully. And I think we can really take responsibility there. I'll when I do my trainings, I talk about how this is requiring a lot of trust in ourselves, that we know how to coach without showing them physically. It requires trust in the parent, that the parent is understanding and able to do this. I can release control of what I think or perceive my role as a physical therapist is, and allow the parent to have that control. And maybe they're not going to do it the way I would do it or right the first time, but that's how we all learn, right? Through trial and error. Like, okay, so did that work out for you? How did that feel when you did that? We didn't come out of the womb knowing how to be physical therapists.
Right.
Somebody taught us. Now, we're not giving up the responsibility of the assessment. We're not giving up the responsibility of decision making, of what and why we're doing what we're doing next, and why we're instructing the parent to put their hand here or to do this exercise first. All of that still is owned by us, and that's what makes us a skilled therapist, not what I do with my hands.
Right. And I know that you used to work in the school setting, right? And a lot of the therapists that work in the school setting, it sounds like from the post, like they're not really having a transition period to go back to face when school starts. So what are some tips or advice that you could give those therapists that are nervous to go back or have anxiety about not having any type of transition back to face?
I don't know. Every school district
You froze.
different, and they're doing different models, and sorry, am I back?
You're back.
My internet went down on Monday for 4 hours. I had no internet. And then since that, it's been very, not as robust as it used to be. So I need to get some time on with the internet company and figure out what happened. So anyway, I apologize for that glitchiness. Every school district is going to be different. And I think we have to be as flexible as possible. None of these situations are ideal.
Right.
And we may start off the school year one way and have to switch. and just know that there are resources out there for you. Everybody is in the same boat. So if that's any relief or solace that you're not the only one that's going through this, so use Marlene's group to ask questions. And I would invite positive intent from everyone. Like, the school districts, they're not trying to, I don't know, they're trying to protect themselves too, right? So they're making decisions day by day. The families that we work with, again, they're not choosing to not come to your sessions. Like, we don't know what's going on in their lives. I've read some posts in different groups of therapists missing virtual sessions. So it happens. And if it's happening continually, then that gives us information. That's like a warning sign that something's not right. So I can like blame the parents that they don't care about their kid and they don't really care about therapy. I'm wasting my time. Or I could view it as, gosh, they must be having a hard time right now. Why don't I figure out where we're at? Is this service, my physical therapy, something that they're valuing right now in their life? Or is it something that is putting them over the edge? If that's the case, then we'll hold services. We'll change the IEP. Is there IEP, if they're now doing school at home, it may or may not be still required. Maybe you were seeing them in the school because they weren't able to access the playground equipment, or I don't know, they weren't able to access their materials in school easily. Is that different now that they're at home? Maybe we look at reconvening the IEP meeting completely. And these educational based services, related services, early intervention, these are all parent driven programs. Like, no parent must have their child participate in physical therapy in school. If it's the parent's choice to stop, it's the parent's choice to stop.
Yeah. And I guess even the therapists in the schools, their loads may be different than what they're expecting. Because like you said, some parents may choose not to, some may still want telehealth. And then maybe the schools will, have some in-person, some telehealth. So there's not just like a whole bunch of in-person sessions. Hopefully something like, so that maybe there will end up being a transition just because of the needs of families too. Hopefully.
Right.
Hopefully
For sure. And if you're working at a school, they have a mandate to provide protective equipment for you. So whatever that means, if the pair is there, we can get the pair more involved, or whoever's spending more time with the child. I mean, if I had 11 schools that I worked at, so is it feasible for me to be, now how much time am I going to be driving between school? Are there even kids at that school anymore that I have to service? Where are my caseloads at? It's going to be a big mess of like trying to figure this out, and it's going to be challenging. But I'll tell you, as a parent, it's challenging for us too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I saw another post by a therapist that works in the school district, and she went through their protocol, and like they had rooms that they would go to instead of in the classroom, and to keep it more clean, and then they're not around other kids that aren't their patients. So if a school's not doing that and they have the room to do that, I think like if it's like a feeling among the therapists that work there, like let them hear your voice and say something to try to make it a safe environment for your patients and yourself.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And then I think too, it's not off limits to use telehealth, even if you're in the same building. I mean, it may, but if you're really concerned about that, you could,
you're back.
You could look at using, you look at using like a telehealth option within the building. So you're physically in the building, but you're still seeing the child virtually. And that's possible too. There's so many different ways to set this up. But yeah, have that conversation with your SPED team. What are the other disciplines doing? What are the other related services doing? Speech therapists especially, they've got to be having the child watch their face and mouth and potentially having their hands in their mouth, or, occupational therapists. So someone else should be thinking about this bigger picture. So don't feel like you're on an island alone, even though maybe that's how you've been treating in the past, because out of necessity, you're in 1,000 different places and nobody really communicates with you, but now it's not okay to accept that anymore.
Right.
So yeah, use your voice and start asking questions, and maybe they don't have a plan yet, but when can I expect this plan? School is coming, and some places school has already started. So I'm not sure, even in my school district, I don't know what it's going to look like for my son and my 2 sons who have IEPs and who receive speech language services. I don't know what that's going to look like for them.
Yeah, so it's a lot of questions right now. I think everybody's figuring it out, but I think the key here is that if you feel like a process has been put in place and it could be better, to speak up and say something.
Yeah, because nobody knows what they're doing, and either. So, that everybody's coming up with a plan or protocol that they think is best for their situation, but if you have something to add to it or point out another side of it, by all means, again, assume positive intent. No one's coming at you as an employer because you must do this, or I think if we can release that out of it and understand that everybody's in a hard situation, we can find a common ground together.
Yeah.
Can I show one other thing that we can use the share screen for?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you can use it for games. Like I could share an online game that, for as a physical therapist, I'm probably going to use it as like a filler. Okay, great, you did the exercise. We're going to go ahead and do the game real fast. But there's ways to make games on your own, and so I'll just show a couple of them here. So one that I like to do is I've used Make This in Canva, but this is like a virtual scavenger hunt. So I'll have the share screen up. I pull the child's picture larger so I can see them. And I was like, okay, Marlene, go find something to step over. And so now you get the opportunity to go find something to step over. And then we could practice this as many times, like, oh, wow, that was really good. I wonder if you could step over something bigger. So, keep going with that. And then, let's see. Oh, I got to go back to then we can just keep going. So I just made all these in Canva to find something to crawl under. And they really have a great time doing this. I could switch the order up. So next time they're not doing them in the same order, or I could, say, okay, we got to find something different than we did last time. So it allows them, it also helps me kind of figure out what's in their space.
Right.
So this is one option. The other one I did was this or that. Again, I made these in Canva. All this is, I don't pay for Canva. I do pull up if they had a coin, they could flip a coin, or I would pull up virtually in a separate window, a coin flipper, and then heads or tails. So that would tell us which one they're going to do. So yeah, so we could kind of go through this. And yesterday the boy chose this game and his sister chose the other one, which I totally would have thought it would have been the opposite. But however, they both played the game. They had a really fun time with it. The other one that I did is I made a Candyland game. I don't know if I have it. If I have it up here, I'll show it. I pulled this up in Canva too, and then I added different activities to all of these things. And so again, I pulled up a virtual dice in another window. We rolled the dice, they moved forward, and they did the exercise that was on the screen. So this does take more prep time for you to do, finding a game board or drawing a game board and putting that up there. But it was a lot of fun, and other virtual grab bags. There's a whole lot of different ways. There's the wheel decide that you can pull up, different wheel spinners and whatnot. So there's a lot of different ways to make your therapy activities more game-like.
Yeah, and it'll take time to make it once, but then you can reuse it over and over. So that's good.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's why I like Canva too, because I can save the image one way and then go back and edit it really quickly. So if you aren't using Canva for your therapy images, go for it. I've not personally used boom cards. I have always wanted to, but as a physical therapist, I think that you could do something interactive that way with the boom card as well. I just haven't taken the time to explore that option.
Yeah, I haven't played too much with I guess the kids that I've been seeing are all early intervention. So I haven't had any older kids, but that's definitely like, that looks like a lot of fun. So now I'm going to have to try to find some older kids to treat. I need some older patients so I could, I'll just do it with my kids for now.
Right? That works. Yeah, that works. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of different fun ways that you can use the share screen. And I hope you guys, if you have any questions, put them down in the chat below. Yeah, none of this is required. I just think it's a nice little trick to have in your back pocket.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all your knowledge. I feel like this was a great productive interview, and it's going to help a lot of therapists. So I know that the first interview I asked you how you drink your coffee. Has it changed, or how?
No, I'm still drinking it with the butter and the cinnamon. I didn't get a chance to grab my coffee, so I'm still, my rule is I have to drink at least one of these first before I have any coffee. So this is water first in the morning before I get any coffee. So I'm still working on my water. Haven't earned my coffee yet today.
Yeah. I started drinking lemon water, and it's so refreshing. Like, I like the way it curbs my appetite. So I've been doing lemon water.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If I had a lemon, it would be in the water. I just don't have.
Well, thanks so much again. And thank you everybody for listening. Have a great day.